Good morning. I'm Charles Upchurch, the CEO of Silentsoft. We do something a little bit similar to the last presentation. We enable energy efficiency in buildings. We do that in Europe. You see that we have 30,000 active installations throughout Europe. How do we do that? We do a little bit of the hard part. We actually go into a building. We take all of the existing infrastructure, the existing meters. We find a way to interface with each one. Our goal is not to replace the meters, but rather to interface with it. Send that out, those measurements out by radio frequency. We bring it into a concentrator that we've designed and manufactured, although we try not to be a hardware company. We do that for the moment. We're happy to buy that one day. We then send all of those measurements into our gateways, into our M2M processing platform, which is a large Java-based processing platform. And then we push information on energy back to the customer, either through a web portal or for the larger customers, like a Siemens, who is our customer, we do it through data transfer directly into their applications. We also have a rather unique solution where we come in and we can analyze the central heating system. In Europe, there's not a lot of air conditioning. The key energy use in buildings is heating. We come in and we actually measure the temperatures going out and coming back in on each circuit in the central heating system, and then we're able to demonstrate to the client that he's starting up too early in the morning, that he's overheating the water on a nice day. And just with that alone, we can come in and then we can optimize by changing the settings on the thermostat to the optimal settings, and we can achieve around 15% energy savings on the building just through this alone. What are we good at? We are good at providing an end-to-end solution. Our customers want to buy a service. They don't want to buy a hardware. They don't want to buy installations. They don't want to worry about a warranty. They don't want to worry about after-sales service costs. They just simply want information, and that's what we do. We provide an end-to-end solution. We focus on energy efficiency in the B2B market. Our key customers are the Swiss property managers, where we already have 15,000 of the apartment blocks in Switzerland are already installed with our system. We started with tank monitoring. Now we move on to helping them reduce their energy costs, and then that expands throughout Europe as well. We do actual measurements. That's very important, as you heard in the last presentation. There are some companies that are doing algorithms and doing analysis without measurements. That's also useful, but most of the industry they want to be able to, in order to manage it, they want to be able to measure it. We generate between 15 and 50% energy cost reductions with our customers. Some of that is just through visualization, and visibility enables action to be able to reduce energy costs. Some of it we go in and optimize ourselves. And in particular, we go in and change the settings on the thermostat based on the optimal settings generated from our measurements. We have a rapid ROI. To give you an example, is a typical apartment block of 40 apartments in Geneva would consume about 60,000 Swiss francs a year in heating oil alone, and just by optimizing the central heating system, we're able to save them about 8,000 francs a year, and our service just for the central heating service only costs them 1,000 francs a year. We have a low-cost, high-volume approach. We go in and we retrofit, so we're not in the smart metering business. We don't go in and change all the meters out. We're not at the home or the apartment level. We're not in the gadget business with smart plugs. We go in and retrofit to all of the existing meters that measure energy consumption in a building, and we bring that information back. We do it for large parks of buildings. Our typical customer gives us at least 100 buildings. He wants to see, first he wants to do a triage of his park. He wants to see which are the worst performing buildings that he knows he needs to drill down there, and then we go in with him and we help him optimize those buildings. Obviously, we're not a consulting company. We're not an engineering company. We are moving a little bit in that direction because our customers want us to help them with the optimization side. But initially, we are a measurement company, and we do the analysis, and we give them this information, and then we help them optimize and achieve between 15 and 50% energy savings. We have a recurrent revenue model. We have 30,000 active subscriptions in 17 countries. We started with tank monitoring, and that pushes us into the oil and gas companies as well. We have a global contract with Shell that's pushing us now outside of Europe. But a key focus of the company is on building energy. We have a scalable Java-based M2M platform that was developed in-house. And we have some very high-profile customers with large parks. So I mentioned Shell. We do Total in Europe for fuels. We have a large park with BP in Germany. In Switzerland, the building owners with large parks, Swiss Post, the city of Zurich, all of the large property management companies are our customers and are now all rolling out building energy optimization with us. And also, we're now becoming a bit of a white label for the large building energy efficiency players, such as Siemens. So Siemens has now started to use us. They sell building energy efficiency to their customers, where the building, and you heard this in the last presentation, in that small percentage of the buildings that are automated, that are cabled, that are smart, Siemens doesn't need us. But in those cases where the building is dumb, which is the vast majority of the cases, we present this low-cost, high-volume approach. We come in and we retrofit. We find the interfaces that work with the meters. We acquire the data. We analyze it. We deliver it to our customer, in this case Siemens, and then we do that on a white label basis. And then Siemens is able to use that information to sell building energy efficiency to their customers. We have a very good team, a very experienced team. In addition to myself, the directors for building energy and for the oil and gas sector were both CEOs in their previous careers. One in an industrial company and was also the operations manager for Philip Morris, and the other was the general manager in an M2M business in Motorola handsets. I'll share this with you. It's just the financials. I came in 2008. I took over from the co-founders. We had to rebuild the company. We rebuilt the platform. We rebuilt the hardware, the software. We rebuilt our model. We've changed the strategy towards building energy. And the company made a significant loss at that point. Last year, we were basically break even at an EBITDA level, and we generated 7 million Swiss francs in revenue. Our strategic plan, and this is really the reason that I'm talking to you today, is we're doing targeted growth funded only through cash flow. And what we would like to do eventually is to accelerate that growth with some growth funding. Our key investors today are Venture Incubator. Most of you should know Venture Incubator. It's a large Swiss fund coordinated by McKinsey that brought in 10 Swiss companies such as Nestle, Novartis, ABB, Credit Suisse, Sulzer, Hilti, et cetera. And they, along with New Value, which is a Cleantech fund based in Zurich, and SVC, which is the new fund from Credit Suisse, together they hold 68% of Silentsoft. But they're looking for a financial exit, and by about 2015. A trade sale is the most likely exit for us. The first is we work with telco operators. They now want to move on from just simply selling traffic. They want to sell M2M solutions because they see that where they sell a SIM card to me for 15 Swiss francs a year, I'm selling for 300 francs a year a single measurement, energy measurement and analysis to a customer. So they see that that's a much nicer recurrent revenue. They want to get into that business. We're in discussions with some of the telco operators. One of them is trying to build a partnership with us now on building energy. The building energy efficiency players, I mentioned Siemens, we're already working with. We're in discussion with Schneider Electric. We're in discussion with Johnson Controls, and also their M2M focused service companies such as Trimble that's already been in discussion with us, the leading global positioning company listed on the NASDAQ, and Numerix in the States as well. And an IPO is always a slight possibility because as we become an OEM provider to the likes of Siemens and Johnson Controls and Schneider Electric, then maybe the easiest way is an IPO. And that's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Scott. Questions?
Yes.
Hi, Charles. I'm Yvette Go, Crystal Except. The question I wanted to ask is what you are proposing, and it's quite impressive, the customer base you've built, but it's not entirely clear to me what is differentiating about what you do and what a lot of other companies do. Mm-hmm. Could you please expand on that?
Sure. We have a very narrow niche, and that narrow niche is to go in and actually retrofit to be able to take the measurements in the field and do data acquisition. And there are not a lot of people that want to do that because that's actually the hard part. And that differentiates us with a Siemens, who is selling building energy efficiency at a high end, and they're actually sending engineers in to work on the building and optimize. And for Siemens, then we become the data acquisition piece. And that's a key differentiator. The other is in our market where we don't have a lot of competition because for building energy, we focus primarily on Switzerland. We're working with all of the Swiss property management companies. In Switzerland, there are 200,000 apartment blocks, of which we've already installed 15,000, and that's growing. And we're their preferred provider. And so having that existing client base helps differentiate us as well.
Are you looking for additional capital to grow the business, or is that coming from your existing shareholders?
No, I was bringing up this point before. Right now, our existing shareholders would like us to have targeted growth funded from cash flow. And in order to accelerate the growth and take advantage of the market, then we would like to seek capital eventually to accelerate that. And I don't think that'll come necessarily from our existing shareholders. One of the reasons that we're doing targeted growth funded by cash flow at the moment is because there is a lot of buzz about building energy efficiency, but the sales are not at the same level as that buzz today. And if many of you probably know, Siemens Building Technology just laid off 220 people in their corporate headquarters in Zug because the sales aren't matching the buzz today, but it's coming. And so we're taking a prudent approach at the moment in 2012, just funding through cash flow and trying to convince my investors and my shareholders that an accelerated growth with some growth funding would be the best approach for the company. Timing is always the key. Yes?
How do you see the potential for international expansion? Where would you go, and would it be harder for you to expand internationally?
Yeah. Well, as you see on the map, we have installations throughout Western Europe. A Shell now, which is not building energy, is tank monitoring, but a Shell pushes us. So we're now working with Shell in Australia, in Southeast Asia. They're pushing us to the Americas. At the end of the day, we have hardware, we have a platform, and then we're able to work with partners to be able to deliver locally. And so we even to the point where we give remote access to our partner that would actually do the installation for us and actually have first level customer support. They have remote access to all of our tools and all of our platform. And that's for us the easiest way to do global expansion. Our goal is not to grow the number of people in the company to a great extent, is to form these partnerships. So I mentioned we're trying to form one with a telco at the moment, and we're forming others as well, and a Siemens as well. Okay, thanks very much.